Can I have your attention, please? It is now time for the moment everyone has been waiting for. Tea time with T and Robyn.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds awesome.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. Everyone, what's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait. Everybody, calm down.
What's up, everyone? We are back. Did you miss us? Because we missed you. This is Tea Time with Robyn. You know who I have here. Robyn, what's up? How you doing?
Peachy. How are you?
I'm doing. I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Like I said to you off air, I got a shot in my knee. My knee is feeling much, much better. But yeah, I'm hanging in there. We got a new puppy, so everything is just great.
Oh, that makes life fun.
What'd you say?
I said that makes life fun.
Yeah, it does. It makes life fun with the kids around the house, and yeah. But all right, let's get into it. We were off for a week, and if you guys don't know, we're starting the off season with every other week we'll be on. So we didn't talk about the Super Bowl last week, but I have a question for Robyn before we even get into the Super Bowl and what happened. Mm-hmm. Serious question for you. Do you think Josh not participating in NFL honors and not really going to the Pro Bowl? Well, I mean, the Pro Bowl itself is a joke to me. He's an alternate, whatever. Does it hurt his image or who he is? Like, you know what I mean? Do you think it hurts him?
Yes. Short answer is absolutely. Excuse me. Yes. Josh not participating, and we've noticed this pattern with him over the last couple of years. He hasn't attended Pro Bowls, etc. I absolutely believe that it affects his likelihood of receiving one of these awards. We know, and you and I have talked about this, that these awards are political. Mm-hmm. They're so political. A quarterback usually gets it. Why don't we have the more Tyreek Hills or McCaffreys and other people in other positions getting a defensive end,
right?
A linebacker? I don't care. But why does it always have to be a quarterback? Why? Because they say so? Well, okay, so Josh is a quarterback. The reason I think it's political with Josh has to do with the fact that Josh himself has said numerous times he doesn't like to go to those things. He doesn't want to participate in those things. Mm-hmm. And a large part of it has to do with the fact that he feels like if he doesn't win it all, if he doesn't win a championship, his season's been a failure and he doesn't want to celebrate anything. And I get where he's coming from, although I do think that may be a cover, kind of an excuse, if you will, because I think at the end of every season, he's absolutely, positively, emotionally trashed.
Right.
To the bone. He gives everything that he has. He leaves it all out on the field. And when the season is over, he needs to go away and decompress immediately. So I think that does have something to do with why he's not favored in the eyes of the people who make those decisions.
Right. And we're going to speak on this, but we're also going to speak on all of that during our Spill the Tea. We're going to elaborate some more. But I pose this question because I kind of believe that if you're not involved, I mean, you being one of we all know Patrick Mahomes is the face of NFL. We understand that. But he also is getting deals. He's getting sponsorships. He's getting all this stuff now. And I get it. Towards the end of the season, you just done, right? You're totally done. I guess for me, being a person that was nominated for the MVP, I think you show up. And,
I agree.
And he's been there before. He's after the 13 seconds, he was there. And I get it. Maybe he experienced that. He was like, yeah, I don't want to do that again. And, everybody's in your face, everybody's this. So I get it. But also too, there were people there that just lost a week prior to that. So, I mean, I'm not saying,
I get it.
If they can suck it up, you can suck it up. I just feel that I don't know how much it would hurt him and hurt his image or hurt his brand.
It does.
But you, like you said, you have to show up. Like, I don't know. I'm
with you. I think it's rather elitist on Josh's part to think, well, screw y'all. I'm just not going. Whatever. I get that he's an introvert because I'm an introvert, and I know how I would feel after an entire NFL season. I would be trashed. But I completely agree with you in terms of image, but also you're making millions and millions of dollars to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be a good soldier in terms of supporting your teammates, other people who are nominated for awards, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I do. I think it's absolutely a bit of on Josh's part, and it doesn't make him look good.
And don't get me wrong, we all seen that Josh was there in Vegas. We seen that he was doing some interviews, some podcasts and stuff like that. Understand that. And I know it's during Pebble Beach and everybody has a problem with Josh right now golfing.
Please stop it.
But it's
stop it.
It's whatever. Oh my God. Yeah. Josh is going to be ready to play football when August and September rolls around. He's going to be so focused. I don't have a problem with Josh in the offseason. I don't. I believe
one thing I want to see Josh do in the offseason that he hasn't been doing is keeping his body in better shape.
Yes. And I think he understood that, though.
Time to get rid of the dad bod that he's developing already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's not even a dad.
He's not Patrick Mahomes' dad bod, but
no, but he could get there easily.
Yeah.
And he could easily let himself get up to, because I'm betting you now, when you look at him, he has to weigh 260 pounds.
Yeah, 260, 265. Yeah. But I think he also addressed that too. And
he did
going into the offseason that he needs to get back into the lab. And when you say that to us as fans, they're going to run with, why aren't you in the lab, Josh? Like, he didn't say when he was going to be in the lab. He said he's going to get back in it. Okay. So give him a minute.
Back off. Let the poor guy get some rest.
For sure. So, speaking of honors, and now let's move on to the Super Bowl. Did you watch?
Yeah, I did. Intensely.
Okay. Cool. Kyle Shanahan has been in the Super Bowl 2 times and lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. And he had the lead each time. I hear that he can't get over this hump. When you can't do something, you can't get over the hump, right? But I don't know if I would put some of it on Kyle Shanahan, definitely. He's a coach. But also, too, I think the biggest picture, the biggest thing that happened in this game was Greenlaw went down. The man ran on the field and he fell. I thought he tripped and he tore his Achilles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you just ran on the field. And that, to me, was the biggest concern, like the biggest play, the biggest loss in that game was that player. What's your take on that? It hurt,
no doubt.
Yeah.
As far as Kansas City goes and San Francisco and Shanahan, it's hard to compare Andy Reid to anybody because as far as I'm concerned, he's kind of he's in an elite class where I wouldn't even put Belichick. Sorry, because Belichick's got the rings and things. But has there ever been, and I've thought about this a lot recently, has there ever been a better play caller than Andy Reid? Ever?
The fact that Andy Reid, well, this is the thing on Andy. He holds out plays for the playoffs. That's his whole snick, right? That he doesn't open the playbook up for Patrick Mahomes. He waits until the playoffs, and these plays are, and we've seen it. They did a ring around the rosy. We've seen some of their stuff that they do. And I mean, I kind of believe that's what they do. I don't know. Those two are just masterminds.
Yes.
And you can't have a down snap against them because they will run with it.
And I'm not, I'm not trying to shortchange Patrick Mahomes here at all, but I believe sincerely that Andy Reid, in my estimation, and I've watched a lot of football, I can't remember a coach that had more feel for a game and what to do instinctively. And like you said, to know when to bring in the shock play, because he's not afraid to do it. He's not afraid to be aggressive.
Right.
And I just have found myself over the last few years developing even more reverence for Andy Reid than I've ever had for him before, because he truly is transformational as an offensive play caller.
Right. And also, too, I think is like because when they were up, 49ers were up by 10, you just knew that they had something up their sleeve. You knew Patrick Mahomes was like, we only just need one mistake. We just need one mistake. And they weren't playing that great in the second quarter. Like, oh my God, McCaffrey fumbled the ball. And it was just like, and I know it was the beginning of the season, like the first quarter, and the Pacheco, and like it was one of those defensive games. And again, when Greenlaw went down, you can go back. There is a video out that's when Patrick Mahomes seen him go down. He said, "Their linebackers down. Their linebackers down. Look, look, look." And then I think that's when he seen blood, and it was just like, "All right, guys, let's go. Let's focus. Their main, not one of their main linebackers. It's like when Matt Milano went down, right? The office, the different side of the ball. I'm sorry, the opponent was like, Matt Milano's down. Like, you've seen blood. So and it just went from there. So it was definitely a good game.
It did. It was definitely a turning point in the game. But I also think that Kansas City has this ability, and we'll get into it probably more of this later when we talk about how to beat the Chiefs kind of stuff, but they don't flinch when they're down.
They don't.
They have the ability to come back from behind better than any other team in the NFL, bar none.
Patrick Mahomes can win on he's won on last drives. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's high. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, seriously. But that's the point. So in the Super Bowl, when you get down by 10 points,
it's nothing.
That's a lot of points in the Super Bowl. That's a lot of points in a Super Bowl. But when you get down 10 points and it's Kansas City, forget it. It's nothing. It's nothing. 2 plays. It's whatever it is. You know, they can do whatever they want, but they pace themselves and have enough belief in themselves when they're down by 10 points. They know here. Right. Okay, put it in gear and let's go.
And I hate to compare, because I think Josh and Patrick Mahomes are two, I'm one of the fans where it's like, yes, my quarterback, I put him above everyone besides Patrick Mahomes. I can't. Like, he's beat him in the regular season, but when it matters, he hasn't beat him. But
right.
when it comes to winning drives, Josh is there too, right?
Oh yeah.
Josh has won the game several times, right?
Yes.
Josh
Yes.
has.
Yes.
So it's hard to compare these two.
It is.
Because he has gone on the losing side of the ball, right? On the losing side of a game, where Patrick Mahomes has done the winning drives and won the game. Where it's
exactly.
And you don't want to point out what happened, but we all know as Bills fans what happens sometimes when Josh leaves the field. So it's frustrating, Robyn. It really is just frustrating watching a team where you have the ability to beat them. We've beat them. We should have beat them. And I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I get it. I totally get it. And we're going to talk about this when we talk about retooling and whatever. We have the capability of beating this team in the playoffs, and it sucks because we are always on the losing end of the stick, and it's getting frustrating as a fan. But that being said, what takeaways from this season? Like, we all know only one team can win the Super Bowl. And I was praying that it wasn't the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Bills are in a good spot. What do you think that the Bills need to do to get over the hump, per se?
Well, it's probably going to sound like a broken record here, but we need to get a stud dominant, one technique defensive tackle. That is one thing that has to happen. And you're talking about getting over the hump. The whole defensive line, mostly on the inside, but, Von Miller didn't perform much up to snuff for most of the regular season that he participated in. I do believe our defensive line needs to be retooled.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll talk about that in retooling. Right. When we go there. But that, I think, is what's holding us back the most. We start out every season, it seems like, thinking our defensive line is going to be, wow. And it doesn't happen, right? We don't get the sacks. We don't get the rushes. We don't get the turnovers.
It's like they flatten out towards the end of the season. It's like they have no juice. I don't know what it is.
One thing that may change, and I hope it's a big change, I think having Babich as a defensive coordinator, I think is going to make a big difference.
Right.
I do. Because he's got all of his time devoted to being a defensive coordinator, whereas McDermott was spread, and he even admitted it to some extent. He felt at times he was spread too thin.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be a help. Plus, who's our new defensive line coach?
Ooh, I put it.
Brain isn't working here, folks. But the new defensive line coach is not Eric Washington.
No, it's not. Oh my God. I have
that was our defensive line coach. And the reason I'm saying that is because I believe Eric Washington was not as good a defensive line coach, as what we needed. I was not happy to see, I was not unhappy to see him go.
Right.
I was happy, but I wasn't shedding a tear to see him go. I do believe that we need to get better performance out of the defensive line. And that's, to me, one of the biggest difference makers.
So a defensive, no. Why do I not have it? Because I got Ron Curry, John Butler, they departed. Jaheim, he is the quarterback coach. Christian Taylor is not that. He's a quality control coach. Why do I not have him? I don't know. Jesus. Sorry, I don't have him.
It's a mystery that shall be solved as soon as anybody wants to go look it up.
Right. My bad. Maybe he wasn't hired during when we did our pod last week, me and Mike. But yeah, I'll look it up. Let me look it up.
You go do that. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about the fact that this team also needs another wide receiver. Opposite Stephon Diggs, minus Gabe Davis, unless Gabe wants to come back on a really friendly deal, and that's not likely.
I'm sorry.
I do believe. Did you find it?
No. I was just saying I don't want Gabe back. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
no offense. And if his mom's listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So this group of wide receivers needs
I got him.
An upgrade.
Marcus West.
That's who it was. I would have never pulled that up. I'm glad
Marcus West. So
Marcus, I believe, has a large task at hand, and so do McBean, because they need to draft at least one defensive tackle, maybe two.
Okay.
And as far as I'm concerned, the defensive side of the ball is what needs more work than the offensive side of the ball, except for a wide receiver.
Right.
Because the offensive line, and we can talk about that too, I think is in pretty good shape.
Yeah, they're solid. They just probably need some solid backups. But other than that, I mean, and then not even that, they're saying Connor McGovern.
Yes.
He is a 1-year deal. And I forgot that he was a 1-year deal. Please don't mess up that line.
Yeah.
Try to figure out how to extend him or get him some money or whatever the case may be. How do you feel about
contracts? Do whatever you do.
Right. How do you feel? Because we haven't spoke about the new changes with coaches this season. How do you feel about Al Holcomb, right, as a linebackers coach?
Good.
Okay.
I think Babbage set the stage. So he worked with. Did he work with Babbitt last year? Holcomb?
I think so. I know he was on the defense side. So
okay, so he was still with. That's what I thought. He was still with the Bills. Okay, so he's had a chance to see firsthand what's needed. Mm-hmm. So I'm all for it. My biggest excitement is Bobby Babbage working the whole defense, because that's going to make a huge difference. I really believe this year it's going to make a huge difference.
And I really want to know who's going to call the plays. Like, is it Sean, you got it? Or, in the beginning, or Bobby Babbage saying, listen, you can start the season, I'll take over, or, how, because it's already.
What I think will happen is.
They spoke about it already, believe you me.
McDermott may call the first few games to get a feel, to help Babbage get on his feet and get a feel for everything, because he hasn't done, to my knowledge, he hasn't done that before. Right. So they might go gradually into that, or who knows? Mm-hmm. It's hard to say. It's going to be interesting to see how much of a change we see in the offense now that Brady has an entire offseason to install his own plays and his own strategy. I think we may see our offense look even a little more different next year, which
I'm excited for
it. That thing.
I like, because I just thought that Stephon Diggs was kind of faded out a little bit of this offense. And I mean, the merge of Shakir, I was excited about, and I'm excited about seeing what he does next year. Excited about Kincaid. What can he bring to this offense? I mean, everybody takes a step. So and that being said, I think this offense will be better used because of Joe Brady and the book, and the playbook being wide open now. Right. And his hands in that playbook.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking of Joe Brady, so what do you think the Bills need to get to the Super Bowl I'll say this to sniff it because God dang it. For me, it's being healthy and Joe Brady bringing Joe Brady to this team, like bringing Joe Brady, like we say, open up the book, making plays, because down the stretch, we missed some explosive plays. We missed some plays like that last game. There were plays there where guys just missed. Right? And they spoke about it. Sean McDermott and Brendan Means spoke about explosive plays. And that's going to stay in my mind this whole offseason, because I think they're going to put so much emphasis on having players to, playmakers, like explosive plays. We need that because we had it. And then last game, right? And then that last game was like, it was right there. And I hate being right there. It's getting on my nerves. So I ask you, what do you think? So what do you think the Bills need to sniff the playoffs just to get there and win it, but not just get there?
Exactly. To progress to the next level. Again, it's this, we're playing the circle game, because I believe to get to the next level, you have to be able to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs.
And let me say this, and it's not just the Buffalo Bills sitting here. We're Bills fans, right? We're saying this because we're close. The Ravens might be saying this as well. Detroit might be thinking about, all 30 teams may be saying the same thing that me and Robyn are speaking. What do we need to do to get to the next step, to go to the playoffs, to beat Kansas City? Because they are now the team to beat.
Have to beat them.
Yeah.
Absolutely have to beat them. And not just in the regular season.
Right.
We have that part figured out. It's the playoffs where things get elevated. And again, when you think about, because this is my bottom line, you have to beat Andy Reid.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to beat his brain. You have to keep Kansas City's offense off the field. So in that sense, wouldn't having a really good, consistent run game help this team a lot? Because over the course of the season, as we saw Brady get more comfortable, he had a rhythm going with the run game.
Right.
He wasn't pulling players in and out like Dorsey was on every other play. And that, I think, made a huge difference. But if we being the Bills and our fan base, if we want them to make it over the next hump, they have to keep Andy Reid's offense off the field.
Yeah.
The longer they can do that, the better they can do that, the better. And I guess I would say the other one thing is in the games that we've played against them, we need more turnovers.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is why, again, your last game always stick out. That last game against the Chiefs, we had the ball. We controlled the clock. And it came down to a field goal to tie the game. And
but I think in some ways, didn't it remind you of the Super Bowl in the sense that for a while, San Francisco had the momentum.
Mm-hmm. They controlled the game.
Exactly. And when the Bills played Kansas City, same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's because Kansas City Chiefs, they have this mindset and they're so good at it.
They are.
It doesn't matter where they're at. It doesn't matter how many times they turn the ball over. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. It just doesn't matter because they have the confidence to know we can just pull it into drive and go whenever we need to.
Here's the thing about Kansas City that I've seen against the Ravens. And not so much in our game, but in the Ravens game, the Ravens played the Kansas City game. Mm-hmm. The Ravens didn't play their game because if they did, Lamar Jackson, and the segment is crazy. Lamar Jackson didn't play his game. Like he tried to throw the ball where he had lanes to run. I'm watching this game like, why aren't you running? Why are you throwing there's a lane right there, sir. And there's another lane right there. If Lamar Jackson would have ran the ball, and if they would have ran the ball, they would probably be in the Super Bowl because they should have won. The Ravens should have won that game.
Ravens could have and should have won that game, and the Ravens would have beat San Francisco.
I think the Ravens would have beat
to a
San
pulp
Francisco
because they did during the regular season, and I think they had their number. Okay, yes, absolutely. We have to get over this hump. The Bills have to be able to move on to the next level, but it involves having that confidence. It involves having that belief that no matter what, you're going to be able to get the job done.
But here's my thing when I think about the Bills. I think they have the confidence. I just think it's something. Andy Reid is a factor. And also, too, I don't think the Buffalo Bills don't lack confidence at all. I believe they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's something else. I just think, and it's Andy Reid and the way that the Chiefs just, everything is fine.
That's what I'm saying.
We're fine. And not that the Buffalo Bills they're not over there frantic. Oh my God, they're not doing that at all. It's just Kansas City is just like, they're up by 10. We're good here still. Don't worry. You know what I mean? It's just that. Because us as fans are.
I add one more thing to this, because we know in the history books, Andy Reid is the coach who first hired Sean McDermott.
Oh, yeah.
So he knows every little nuance of Sean McDermott's psyche. And what do we know about Sean McDermott? When push comes to shove, he panics at times. And Andy Reid knows, I think, better than anybody how to get underneath Sean McDermott's skin.
Yeah, you're right. So that's another factor.
So that's the thing where Sean McDermott has to figure out, okay, I have to take my profession up to the next level. I have to
surprise him on something he didn't think I'm going to do.
Yes, he has to go against all of his past tendencies.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And do things that Andy Reid has not. I mean, is there anything Andy Reid hasn't seen?
Yes.
But try anyway.
It's like Bill Belichick is it anything that he hasn't seen? Yeah. But, me and Robyn, before the segment is so crazy because we didn't have Spill the Tea. We're in the off season. Our brain is off. It's off.
Gone brain.
Yes, it's gone. Woo! So, but we do have Spill the Tea, and I think it's exciting. So here's our Spill the Tea.
For me, come on, just spill that. Come on, just spill that. Spill that tea for me. Spill no dirty tea. Yeah, tell me everything. Come on, just spill that.
We're spilling it.
We got it. We're spilling it.
You lead off.
The honors happened, and the whole season, Lamar Jackson, MVP. Now me, and there's a narrative out there. If you don't like Lamar Jackson, then you can fill in the blank. I'm not doing it. I'm a Lamar. I love to watch Lamar. I'm a football fan. I love to see quarterbacks go out there and play their best at their top, right? But the MVP is a regular season game. Award. I'm sorry. I just didn't think Lamar won the MVP. Not saying that Josh went, right? So if we're going to do this, let me break it down for you. So the MVP is a quarterback award. But I thought Tyreek Hill may have won it, and I say that I just threw up in my mouth because he's a Miami Dolphin player. And then Christian McCaffrey could have won the award. The other quarterback that I thought could have won and was in the the competition was Dak Prescott. But once he went to Buffalo and showed his non-ass, he was out. So then you have Josh. If you're not going to give it to those two that I said, and you can't give it to Dak because Dak it blew up in his face. I'm sorry. I just didn't think Lamar won because Lamar didn't have better stats than Josh. And if you're going to go with the interceptions, guys, then go with the touchdowns because Josh actually had 44. He ended the season with 52 in the playoffs altogether. I don't know if you're going to see that again. The last few seasons, he had 40 touchdowns. Who else has done that? Lamar hasn't done that. Dak Prescott hasn't done that. Brock Purdy, stop, okay? Tua, stop playing. Like, I don't know, and this is why I said what I said the first question I asked. Is Josh hurting his image by not going to these things? Because he should have ran away with it, but he only got one vote.
Which is absolutely appalling, and in my view, signifies completely that it's political. It is, because they talk about unanimous votes. There should never be unanimous votes for MVP.
Never.
And what is this rule that quarterbacks are the only ones that can be MVP? I mean, I know it isn't a rule, but it's the way that it happens.
It's a non-spoken rule.
That's what I say to that. Okay? Because I think there are a lot of other players at other positions who deserve that to be considered for that honor. Seriously. And it's this like unspoken rule that it has to be quarterbacks. No, it doesn't have to be quarterbacks. But if it's going to be quarterbacks and you're going to lay down the numbers, absolutely Josh Allen had a better season. And I would also add that Josh Allen has a better record in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson does by a freaking mile.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens to Lamar in the playoffs. I think he gets uptight. I do. I think he has a little bit of
He doesn't elevate. He doesn't elevate his game. Now, Josh, if we're talking about and I get it, I just don't. When it comes to interceptions, Josh tightens up, right? When it's regular season, I'm not saying he's loose, loose lips, whatever. But I just think he just knows that there's not another game. So he tightens up his game. When it comes to the regular season, he's just like, all right, boom, I'm just going to shoot it down there. Hopefully, you catch it. And I'm just saying that to say it. But I really, I don't know. I thought these honors awards was just a little bit political for me. A little bit. Mm-hmm. And I just got a little pissed off. I don't know. I just think Josh, if you're going to do this, you're going to continue to do it because Josh is going to throw interceptions. He is. He throws the ball.
So would you rather have a guy that throws half a dozen more interceptions than they should? Who's having coffee instead of tea? Kim.
It's okay, Kim.
I love you, Kim.
I love Kim.
I love you. I'm so glad you're here.
Yes,
so anyway, back to what was I talking about? Oh,
interceptions.
Yeah, the interception thing with Josh. Okay, so all these interceptions you're talking about, throw in a half a dozen more, or would you rather have Tyrod Taylor?
Who doesn't throw the ball down the field? Yeah.
That's my point. He's terrified of throwing an interception, so he doesn't. He doesn't let there is even a player within 5 yards of the receiver. He won't throw the ball.
Robyn, that was a frustrating time having Tyrod because
that was my only frustration
throw the ball
with Tyrod.
Tyrod, throw the ball, and he has a pretty ball.
Oh, he does. He does. He does, and he has a pretty good arm.
Yes.
I don't understand. I don't understand. I never have understood Tyrod in that fashion, other than he might be a perfectionist and not be able to throw indiscriminately because it's just not his nature. And I don't know him personally, but I suspect
Right.
he's probably very much a perfectionist because
No, he
most people at
seems
that level are.
he seems
They
like
have
it.
to
And I'm
be.
with you here, Kim. The honors are very
They seem
too political. Yeah, it seemed predetermined and the media didn't help it all season
It's
for sure.
true. So
Very,
true,
very true.
Kim. So
Very true.
true.
And I
Anyway,
love watching our guys up there. I love watching Deion Dawkins, I loved all that. I mean, we can also talk about the fact that Flacco got comeback player of the year when he was just sitting on the couch. But I mean, someone
yeah.
died on the field and he came back from life and he didn't get it. So I mean, it's just crazy. Brees Hall wasn't even nominated for it. He had an injury and came back and played a very good season, even though it's the Jets. So, I mean, this comeback player are you sitting on the couch? Are you dead? Are you coming back from an injury? What is player comeback of the year? Like what tell me what it is. Because I don't
What does it
understand.
even mean?
What does it mean? What did I come back from? The couch? Death? Or an injury? Like, I'm not understanding. Like, come on. Like, I did spill the tea twice. My bad.
I'm with you.
I mean, we've been gone, so I had some build up.
Yes, we're allowed to rant.
And I think we talked about this, but I think I repeated. I said going into the offseason, do you think do you think going into the offseason? So this is a different question. Do you think going into this offseason, the Bills organization, their whole focus is surrounding, thinking about, we need to build a team to beat the Chiefs?
Yes. Why not? They've won the last 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
We haven't been able to beat them in the playoffs.
True.
I absolutely think you have to build the team to beat the Chiefs. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know from past history, we wasn't building a team to beat the Patriots. Yeah, no. Because every time Tom Brady came in here, and another thing. Look, and another thing. We just came off the Patriots, right? That long
dynasty into another.
As a Bills fan, it's sucking right now. It's really driving me crazy. I'm not saying I'm going to move on, but God,
we kind of built our own dynasty in the AFC East, so that's good. That's a
right.
good first step.
That's
Honestly,
the
we
first
are.
step.
We're the dynasty team in the AFC East. We're the ones that everybody has to take down, which they will probably do with more enthusiasm and talent next year. So we have to keep on building so we can stay ahead of our peers in the division.
It's so crazy, but Robyn, the crazy thing about it is that every offseason we hear, so we're going to have a rinse repeat when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Because we're going to hear Jets fans say, it's our year, Aaron Rodgers is back. Whoa, just wait. He's going to take us to the playoffs. Da, 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 da. Then here comes the Miami Dolphins. Tua got it. And I'm going to be excited when Tua gets that extension. Because I don't know if Tua is that quarterback. I don't know.
In my opinion.
He can't win those big games. You've seen he flops. They go into the playoffs and lose every time, so give him the extension.
One and done.
Right, one and done. And it's a mess over there. I mean, Fanchi left, so we'll see. But yeah, the Bills, they retooled or whatever. And speaking about retooling and stuff like that, what do you think it looks like for you? Is this a retooling? Is this a rebuild, a restart? What is the Where are you at?
Where's the Well, here's the thing about the it all boils down to the same thing for me. It's really the defense that needs to be retooled more than the offense. Again, focus on wide receivers. I really believe the Bills have a strong room for their offensive line.
Mhm.
this is probably the first time I could say that in a long time,
Time.
that
Yeah.
we have depth. Even now we have depth. We don't have huge gaping holes. Yes, we need to re-sign McGovern. All of that isn't as bad as we've seen our offensive line in the past, but our defensive line needs to be retooled. The interior of the defensive line, the only person I'm totally comfortable with is Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones.
Mhm.
And beyond that, I believe that they need to really take a look at getting younger and getting bigger, especially one technique defensive tackle. Please give it to Vondre Sweat. I'm having dreams about him now already.
You hear that, Devontae?
Yes, it's terrible. I'm gonna go on a rant. I just know it. But we'll save it for when Dean Kindig
Oh,
appears on our show
yes.
next week.
Very, very excited about having Dean on our show.
Draft guru.
Draft Guru Dean. I got my notes like I told you before. I'm gonna make sure they're nice and neat so when he comes on, I can boom, 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 pick his brain. But for me, when it comes to this retooling, because listen, Kansas City did it. Kansas City went young. And I like the fact that we are getting kind of young. Our coaches are getting young. I think that I don't see them signing a Leonard Floyd again because Leonard already said that he's going where the money is. Love you. Peace out. You know, whatever. Von Miller, hopefully he will be back from the Von that we knew when he got hurt on Thanksgiving. I'm good with Jones coming back, but I also need someone else on that line. Like, I don't know if Tim Settle will come back. I don't know if
Puna.
and you know what? I do want Puna back though.
I do.
I just thought Puna, he was behind Tim Settle. But when Puna came in towards the end of the season, I thought Puna made a difference. I would love to have Puna back. I would love to have him back. Tim Settle.
I don't know about Jordan Phillips. I think
Jordan Phillips, I think he's going to retire. I think so. He had mentioned it. Yeah, he had mentioned it. And we haven't gone over our free agents, our Bills free agents, you and I. So that might be something that we can do upcoming pod, talk about our free agents, who we think will be gone, who we think will stay. Also, too, we have the combine coming up. I don't really do combine too much. I mean, I look at it, but I don't give a damn how much you ran unless you're a wide receiver. But yeah. But I know one thing when it comes to the retooling that I was going to say is that I look at the last pressers that Sean and Bean had said, and they spoke about, again, the explosive plays and wanting to get some help for Josh and you got to have somebody on the opposite side for Diggs. You got to take away that pressure. Again, Shakir, for me, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what that looks like because Ken Dorsey didn't use him. And it was just like, could you imagine having him? Right. Could you imagine having him in the beginning of the season? Maybe that Denver game would have been different. Maybe that, I mean, even though we won the Giants game, maybe that Giants game would have been different. Maybe that New England game would have been different, you know? So it's just a shame that some of these pieces wasn't being used the way they were supposed to. Again, Kincaid, I thought, was not being used well. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just a fan looking on and watching a game.
I think you know a lot.
Thank you. We know a lot. But before we get out of here, me and Robyn want to send our prayers to DJ Lisa Lopez. She was at the Kansas City parade yesterday. She's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and she lost her life. Senseless shooting that happened there at the parade. You can't even go to a freaking parade and cheer for your team. Like, that could have been us once the Bills win a Super Bowl, cheering on our team, going there, celebrating, happy. And this happens. It's just too much, and it's enough already. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get too much political. I just wanted to send our prayers to her family because it's just a shame.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I couldn't put it any better than you did. I honestly, gets me emotional. I don't have any words left for the despair in my heart when I see one mass shooting after another, after another, after another, after another. And not that it would make any difference, but from what I read, they still don't even have a motive for this shooting.
Things are coming out saying it wasn't a mass shooting. It was more criminal, but regardless, we're going hanging out.
Yeah. We got to do better.
Yeah.
We got to do better.
We do. Something has to happen. I mean, kids were injured as well. I mean, and we can get out of here on this note. I was saying to Lay before I got my needle stuck in my knee. I said to her, and this is sad, I said, I couldn't even run because my knee is that bad. And I'm telling you, you're going to have to run with the kids and I'll meet you. And my thinking, and she looked at me and I'm like, I'm serious. One of us has to be there. And she was just like, wow. And I was like, yeah.
That's
I get anxiety.
The reality of the world that we're living in.
That's the reality of it. Sad, the reality. And I push myself out there with my kids to do events, to do stuff, because if I go to a concert, Robyn, I'm in the back.
I get it.
Yeah, but not to, bring it to a sad note. But this is what it is, and this is life. But we're gonna get out of here, and on a good note, we're gonna win a Super Bowl with Josh Allen.
And we meet again on the 29th of February.
Tell them about it, Robyn.
Okay, and it will be our next show with Dean Kindig,
Draft Guru. We're going to be speaking about everything: wide receivers, D tackles, safeties, the Mog Hollies that they like to call them, defensive end. Is Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane going to pick a defensive player of their first pick? And would Buffalo Bills fans be upset? Next on Tea Time with Robyn. So
I love you so much.
Yeah, the fan base will go insane, but we still need it. We still need defensive ends. So I mean, it is what it is. So guys, thank you for always listening, tuning in. We appreciate you. I mean, it's the off season. I'm going to continue to say it, and it's an exciting. It's a retool, a rebirth, a rebuild. It's new. We will not. But here's the thing: we will not see the same players on this team. There will be new players. There will be players that we're going to miss and lose, and there's going to be retirement. So that being said, and it's going to be sad to see some of these guys retire. That's been in the Buffalo Bills uniform for a long time. But we're going to get out of here. I love you, Robyn. Thank you always. This is Tea Time with Robyn, and it's always go Bills. See, you did it again. You see the balloons? Peace out.
Until next time, Mafia, this has been Tea Time with T and Robyn.
The Bills make me wanna